we all picture like those grand lecture halls and bustling labs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, the passionate professors when we think about college
Of
life.
course, yeah.
But behind all of that, like there's this whole team of people who are working so hard to make that vibrant academic world possible.
Right.
And today, we are going to dive deep into the, I think, pretty fascinating world of HR in higher education.
For sure,
Yeah.
yeah. It's an area that often, I think, flies under the radar. But as we'll talk about today, I think it's absolutely crucial to the success of any university or college.
For sure. And we have this article by Jarrod, who is the CEO of academicjobs.com.
Right.
And he just comes right out and says that HR professionals are the most important people in higher education,
Wow.
which is kind of a bold statement.
Yeah.
But we're going to figure out why he believes that and explore kind of all the different roles within higher ed HR
Yeah.
and what makes it such a great career path, I think, and the impact that it has, not just on the institution itself, but on future generations.
Absolutely, yeah. It's so interesting to consider how colleges and universities always say that their people are their greatest asset.
Right, right.
And they really mean it.
I know, I know. And it's interesting because I've never really thought about it like that. We always hear about like world-class faculty or dedicated staff.
Right, exactly.
But I guess I never really thought about it so simply like that.
Yeah, I think when you think about it, in higher education, you're dealing with the creation and dissemination of knowledge.
Right.
You're nurturing talent.
Yeah.
You're fostering innovation.
Yeah.
And these aren't things you can just automate or outsource.
Right.
Human capital is at the heart of everything that a university does.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
And so then when you think about like who's responsible for finding and nurturing and supporting those talented individuals, it all comes back to HR.
Absolutely, yeah. And that brings us right back to that Kanizay quote about HR heroes.
Yeah.
And it's not just hyperbole, I think it really reflects the crucial role that HR plays in shaping the entire higher education experience.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
HR hero.
HR heroes, exactly.
It's such a perfect way to describe them.
It is, yeah.
So what does being an HR hero in higher ed actually entail? Like,
Right.
what does that actually look like? This article actually mentions 10 different roles within HR,
Wow, that's a lot.
which seems like a lot.
Yeah, it is, yeah. So you have your generalists who handle a wide range of HR functions,
Okay.
but you also have specialists that focus on things like recruitment,
Gotcha.
employee relations, learning and development, compensation and benefits,
Okay.
diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah.
It really runs the gamut.
Wow, that's a lot of moving parts.
It is.
And I imagine like each role kind of contributes to the success of the university in its own way.
They really do, yeah.
I mean, for example, like you mentioned the diversity, equity, and inclusion officer,
Yeah.
or DEI officer, I guess as they call
Right,
them.
right.
And this role has become so important.
It has, yeah.
And for good reason.
Right.
I can see how creating a diverse and inclusive campus environment would be crucial to the success of any school.
Absolutely.
But like, what does that look like in practice?
Uh-huh.
Like, what are some of the things that a DEI officer would focus on?
Right. So you think about it from the student perspective. If you have a student body that's truly diverse, that represents a wide range of backgrounds and perspectives and experiences, that enriches every aspect of the learning process.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So classroom discussions become more engaging, research projects take on new dimensions.
Oh, wow.
And even the social fabric of the campus is strengthened.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
It's not just about like ticking boxes. It's about creating an environment where every student feels seen and heard and valued.
Exactly, and that's where the DEI officer comes in.
Oh,
They develop the strategies to attract diverse faculty and staff.
okay.
They create inclusive hiring practices,
Gotcha.
implement training programs to address unconscious bias,
Wow.
and they foster a campus culture where everyone feels safe and respected.
Wow. So they are really playing a key role in shaping the future, not just of the institution, but of society as a whole.
Absolutely, yeah. Because after all, these students are going to be the future leaders and innovators and change makers. And the kind of environment that they experience on campus will absolutely shape how they approach the world beyond academia.
Yeah, that really puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
So let's shift gears a little bit and think about this from the perspective of somebody who's considering a career in HR. What would make higher education stand out as such a great place to work?
Right?
I mean, compared to other industries, what are some of the unique perks and benefits of working in higher ed HR?
I think for a lot of people, the draw of higher education really is its mission-driven nature. You're not just working for a company, you're contributing to something so much larger than yourself.
Right.
You're helping to shape the minds of future generations, you're supporting groundbreaking research, and you're fostering a love of learning. And
Yeah, no, I totally get that there's something really inspiring about being a part of an institution that's, dedicated to knowledge and progress.
right,
But I'm curious about the practical side of things.
right.
Does that sense of purpose come with any trade-offs,
Yeah.
I mean, is the pay lower in higher ed HR compared to corporate HR, or is the work-life balance different? What?
Those are really important considerations for anyone who is choosing a career path. And it's true that salaries in higher ed might not always match those in the corporate world,
Okay.
especially at the entry level. But there's often more room for growth and advancement within a university setting. And the benefits packages can be incredible. Things like tuition remission for yourself or your family members.
That's a good point. Yeah, the benefits package is definitely something to consider.
For sure.
Um, what about the work itself? Is it more structured, or is there more flexibility compared to a traditional corporate HR role?
I would say there's a good balance. You have the structure of established policies and procedures,
Okay.
which is essential in any large organization. But there's also a lot of room for creativity and innovation in higher ed HR.
Uh-huh.
You're constantly adapting to new challenges, you're finding ways to support a diverse workforce, and you're contributing to the unique culture of a university.
It sounds like a really dynamic environment.
It really is, yeah.
And speaking of culture, what about work-life balance? We hear so
Yeah.
much about burnout in certain industries. Is that a concern in higher ed HR?
It can be, depending on the specific role in the institution, but in general, universities tend to prioritize work-life balance more than some other sectors. I think they understand that their employees need time to recharge and pursue their own passions.
Oh, wait.
After all, higher education is all about lifelong learning, and that extends to the personal lives of their staff as well.
I like that perspective. Yeah. It makes sense that an institution that's dedicated to education would value the well-being of its employees.
Right.
So to sum it up, it sounds like working in higher ed HR offers, this really unique blend of purpose-driven work
Yes.
and a stimulating environment and a really supportive culture.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the personal and professional growth that comes from working alongside brilliant minds in a setting that's dedicated to knowledge and innovation.
That's a great point. Yeah. And that brings us back to Kanizay's quote about, HR professionals being the most important people in higher education.
It does.
I mean, do you think working in this kind of environment, surrounded by all this intellectual energy, shapes you as a professional?
I absolutely believe it does. Think about the skills and values that are emphasized in higher education. Things like critical thinking, collaboration,
Mhm.
problem solving, a commitment to lifelong learning.
Right.
These are all qualities that are essential for success in HR,
Yeah.
and they're constantly being reinforced and developed in a university setting.
Yeah, it's like you're immersed in this culture of growth and development.
You are.
And those skills are transferable too.
Yes.
So even if someone eventually decides to move on from higher ed HR, they're leaving with this valuable set of tools and experiences that they can take with them anywhere.
And I think those experiences go beyond just the professional realm. When you're working in a university environment, you're surrounded by such a diverse community of people from all walks of life. You're exposed to different perspectives, different cultures, different ways of thinking.
Yeah.
It really broadens your horizons and makes you a more well-rounded individual.
Yeah, it sounds like an incredibly enriching experience,
It is.
well, personally and professionally.
It really is. And it all comes back to the core mission of higher education, which is to educate, to inspire, to create positive change in the world.
And speaking of positive change, we've talked a lot about the internal impact of HR in higher ed,
Yeah.
supporting faculty and staff, creating a positive work environment.
Right.
But how does that impact ripple outwards? How does
Yeah.
their work affect society beyond the campus walls?
That is a great question. And it gets to the heart of why HR in higher education is so important. Universities aren't just ivory towers.
Right.
They're engines of innovation,
Yeah.
they're drivers of economic growth,
Uh-huh.
and they are catalysts for social progress.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me. How does HR fit into all of that?
Well, by supporting the faculty and staff who are conducting cutting-edge research, educating the next generation of leaders, and addressing pressing societal challenges, HR professionals are playing an indirect but vital role in shaping the future.
Yeah, it's like that saying, educate one person and you can change a life. Educate a society, you can change the world.
Right.
And HR professionals are like the ones supporting the people who make that education possible.
Exactly. They're the unsung heroes, often working behind the scenes, but their impact is felt, far and wide.
So true. So I guess if we're going to celebrate those brilliant researchers and inspiring professors, uh, we need to also acknowledge the crucial role of HR professionals in creating the environment that allows them to flourish.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. They are the foundation upon which the whole enterprise of higher education rests.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like working in this kind of environment can be so rewarding on a personal level too.
Yeah.
Like to be surrounded by so much intellectual curiosity and a shared passion for knowledge, it's got to be pretty inspiring.
It really is, and it's not just the academic atmosphere either. Remember, universities are incredibly diverse communities. You're interacting with people from all over the world with different backgrounds, different perspectives, different life experiences. It's a constant learning opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like you're getting a global education just by being a part of that campus community.
Exactly. And that exposure to diversity, that constant exchange of ideas, it shapes you as a person. It makes you more open-minded, more empathetic, more understanding of the world around you.
Yeah, so it's not just about professional development. It's about personal growth as well.
Right.
And that, I think, speaks to the true power of higher education. It's not just about acquiring knowledge. It's about becoming a more well-rounded, engaged, and compassionate human being.
I couldn't agree more. And HR professionals, by supporting the people who make that transformation possible, are playing a vital role in making the world a better place.
That's a beautiful thought. So to wrap things up, if there's anyone listening who's feeling inspired by this world of HR and higher education, where would you suggest they go to explore those opportunities?
Well, I would definitely recommend checking out academicjobs.com. It's a fantastic platform specifically designed to connect HR professionals with higher education institutions.
Awesome. It sounds like the perfect place to start your journey into this rewarding and impactful career path.
Absolutely.
And remember, as Jarrod Kanizay so aptly put it, HR professionals are the most important people in higher education. They're the unsung heroes who make it all possible.
That's right. If you're passionate about education, about making a difference, and about being part of a vibrant and intellectually stimulating community, I encourage you to explore the world of HR in higher education. You might just find your calling.
That's a great note to end on. Well, thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of HR and higher education. It's been an eye-opening journey, and I hope our listeners have gained a newfound appreciation for the unsung heroes who make this vital sector thrive.
It's been my pleasure.
And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a difference.